Alrighty, I have a really packed construction update for you guys today. Before I get started, I do want to just let you guys know we only have 10 tickets left for our May 29th AlpenFury and Leviathan ride event with a Q&A with the park, ERT, and an AlpenFury tour. 10 tickets left. Tickets are going to go offline as well as the t-shirts for May 29th at 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. So the link is down below in the comments. If you want to come, I would buy it now because we're taking May 29th offline as of Sunday, this Sunday coming tomorrow, 11:59 p.m. So click that link, buy your tickets. There's only 10 left, so may the odds be ever in your favor. But yeah, I'm really excited. So let's get right into the construction update. As you can tell, track and supports are starting to disappear from the parking lot. We're definitely seeing a lot less supports in the storage area for AlpenFury's parts. There have been a few shipments that have arrived, so I can clarify. In my last video, I said I wasn't sure if we were done receiving supports. I thought we were. There were probably a few more track pieces to come. Well, the actual massive supports for the double inverted top hat started to arrive. As you can see, there's two of them that arrived the other day. You can tell they're like B&M size, definitely for the double inverted top hat. But all the track is accounted for the Skyflyer loop and the double inverted top hat. So I'm not quite sure how much track is left to arrive. If I was to piece together the groups of track and where they should go, we should almost be there, if not already there, in terms of track pieces. But that is just coming from a prediction. So please take that with a grain of salt as just my personal analysis. There could be a few more. But yeah, so based off of what I've been judging by the construction site, there's been a slowdown in terms of vertical construction because there's been a lot of work going on inside the mountain, as well as going back and torquing bolts on the track and support. So from what I've gathered, although there haven't been a lot more track pieces installed, because we have seen them install 6 to like 8 pieces a day, I think 4 to 6 pieces a day, which was insane near the beginning. There's been a lot of torquing going on, going back and torquing the bolts on the connector pieces for the supports and track. So while it may not look like there's a lot of work going on, there is a lot of work going on. And in this update, they started to do a lot more work, especially with the Skyflyer loop. And a lot of electrical work going on with AlpenFury. So for those of you that didn't get to see the amazing Wonderland update that they posted on all social medias done by Nina, it's a really great update. Go check it out. I have a few of the clips in here that I'm going to show you guys. So the clips that are inside the park are Canada's Wonderland's footage. But I wanted to show you guys a few of my favorite things from that video to help describe what's going on currently on the construction site. So as you see here in the Skyflyer loop, they're installing a few of those last little supports for those main high above the ground element section, the actual inverted part. They're just finishing off a few of those connections. No further vertical construction going on in some of those low to the ground moments or that pop of airtime before the 9th inversion. A lot of work going on the station. You can see them building a temporary tent there. And I was a little bit confused at first. I was like, oh, that's weird. What could that possibly be for? It looks like a tent for camping. Can't be anything significant, but we'll show you what that's meant for in a bit. In here, they're working on the actual exit out of the launch into the double inverted top hat. If I had to guess, they're building scaffolding and forms to pour the actual launch tunnel that'll enclose the ride there. If I had to make a prediction, they're going to lower track pieces from the top after they build the launch and then build a little bit upward inside the mount, and then they're going to lift the few top pieces exiting from the top down. I did see the massive crane 16-wheeler pull up today. It looked like they were just analyzing it, and then it took off. So they're obviously trying to, if I had to make an assumption, choose the right crane or see if that crane could lift those massive supports for that double inverted top hat. Again, the drone makes things look a lot smaller than they are. But yeah, so as you can see here, they're lifting one of those support columns in place to one of those support columns that connects about 2 or 3 of those support columns together. I really like this structure. It really reminds me of like an ice cave from like Airbenders, if that makes sense. But I don't know if that's a little too far-fetched of a statement for a lot of people to get. It just looks like a giant ice structure. Over here, they're doing a lot of electrical work in the station. So as you saw there, they're working on the brake fins and connecting some electrical. They're doing, as you see right there, the PLC system for AlpenFury has arrived. That is not it. I assume there's going to be a little bit more. So those are almost like supercomputers, the brain of the computer, the ride. That is going to go. Obviously, they have the tent set up to protect it from weather until it's all hooked up and there's a building built around it. But as you can tell, they're really rushing to get this ride up and running, the electrical, the ride, so that if there's work like the station and landscaping, this ride can still test and is ready to go. So they're a lot farther along in terms of the electrical than we think. And I'll show you an example right now from Canada's Wonderland's construction update on the screen. So as you see here, these are the super capacitors for the main launch. This is in a little power room right off to the, if you're facing out the north exit of the tunnel, this will be just off to the right as you enter the mountain. And that is going to power the main launch. Inside the park, they are working on the foundation. Now, this footage is a little old. They've obviously poured that now, but I just wanted to show you guys this close-up. And as you see here, before they poured those outer walls for the trench, obviously they have all the electrical for the launch ready to go up, and they've poured the foundation now. We know that for the launch. So they're ready to do vertical construction in there. So hopefully we see that start any day now. But back outside, I wanted to talk about timeline. So Canada's Wonderland, in a comment on Instagram, did state that the ride is still slated to open in late spring or sometime in spring, I think they used. So that's exciting. That's any time between, April to mid-June that the ride could open. On top of that, basically what's going to happen is in the next 2 to 5 weeks, you're going to see vertical construction be completed and landscaping start. So as you could tell, when you look at this construction site, it's a complete disaster. So when all this heavy machinery is done in there and done tearing up the dirt and the grass and all that, they're going to go in, lay down their fencing, lay down their scenery, their theming, their landscaping, and really bring the areas to life. That's when you're going to see the ride and AlpenFest really take shape. So that's really exciting. Really excited about that. But in the interview that Canada's Wonderland did have, they did confirm that they're still about 2 to 5 weeks out in terms of finishing all the heavy machinery work. So definitely curious to see what they're going to be able to pull off. If I had to guess timeline-wise, if this ride is to open by late May, you're going to need to see vertical construction done no later than the end of April. So you're going to want to see vertical construction done for this ride by, I would say, the 3rd, maybe 4th week of April, so that testing can start to take place while they're getting the landscaping and the theming done for the ride. So is this ride going to be open for opening day? No, I really don't think so. Is it going to be open for the event? Yes, I do think so. I think that the scheduled open, my prediction, is May 16th. So it's ready for the May 2-4 long weekend that Canada's Wonderland will be obviously celebrating, like other parks and things in Canada. So that's my forecast, more specifically May 16th, that the ride should be ready to go for, fingers crossed. With that being said, there is obviously still a lot of work to do, but I've seen this company install 4 to 6 pieces a day, and there's a reason they're going a little bit slower, and I think that you're going to see them really just take off out of nowhere once all the supports start to get put in place. You have to remember there was a deep freeze. We had really cold, snowy weather, and they had to stop a lot of the concrete work, and now they've just finished a lot of that, and now you're going to see them be able to blast forward with construction and really take this ride to where it needs to be in terms of a timeline to be finished. So it is a little weird that there is that hanging piece there, but again, this company that is working on it knows a lot more than you or me in terms of construction. But yeah, so I am really curious to see when the double inverted top hat is gonna get built. There are some good signs now, like I said, with them being tied off here and doing some scaffolding work for what I think is going to be the tunnel. There's a lot of holes being cut out in the tunnel. I think they're building those sections where maintenance can go up and obviously have a look at the track. They have to build those sections that maintenance can go view it. So that's a good sign. There are definitely a lot of holes in the mountain, so I have hope that it's going to look good in the end because the company that did the top of the mountain did a really good job. It looks fantastic. It blends in with the aged mountain look. It's not like that gray concrete that we saw with Wonder Mountain's Guardian. So definitely really excited for that. There is still a lot of support work in this area to do, but again, a lot of these supports, especially there, are to start those 2 or 3 elements in total, technically, that go over World Expo. Some more shots from inside the park from Canada's Wonderlands update. I wanted to show this just to show you guys how close this ride interacts with itself and other elements around Wonder Mountain, like Wonder Mountain's Guardian, Vortex, and the mountain itself, and again, itself as a coaster. A lot of head choppers, a lot of close calls. It's going to be an amazing ride. I'm super excited about it. And then even better is the trains. So the trains for AlpenFury definitely look a lot better than I was even expecting. They're currently in the maintenance shop receiving some decals on them as stated in Canada's Wonderland's launch report. Again, you got to go check it out. It's a really good detailed construction update. We're not able to tell yet, but it looks like, based off of certain angles that Wonderland has posted on Instagram, that there's indents in the shin guards, which would allow for a lot more comfortable of a ride design than we've seen on previous Premier trains. So fingers crossed that is the case, because that'll be really exciting for your ride experience. So definitely very curious to see if that is the case. But what I'm really excited about is the completion of the Skyflyer loop. I really want to see the track on this. And I really wanted, like, just that airtime hill, by the way, right before the 9th inversion is a lot sharper and a lot more better profiling and shaping to it than the animation gave off. So I'm really curious to see what the Skyflyer loop is going to look like, because every element I've seen on AlpenFury so far looks way better than the animation itself. So definitely looking forward to the ride experience, because this ride definitely looks really exciting. So as you see there's the white tent. It's fully built. It's protecting the AlpenFury's PLC system, the main computer, the brain of the ride, from weather until they're able to get installed, and a building around it. So yes, again, from looking at the ride right now, we look really far out. But for those of us that remember Yukon Striker, we weren't necessarily worried about vertical construction with Yukon Striker. But for those of us that were watching along my updates back in the day, or attending Media Day, remember that the station was really holding up construction on AlpenFury. So not AlpenFury, Yukon Striker. Yukon Striker built the entire ride and then started building the station. They started the station really late, and it was literally on Media Day for Yukon Striker that they were still building the station and hadn't really had all the theming in. So again, what looks like it could not open, or it's really far behind, they'll be able to catch up, because they definitely pulled it off with Yukon Striker, and I know they're going to pull it off with AlpenFury. The park is really trying to get this ride open in May, so fingers crossed that's the case. Here's that trench all finished for AlpenFury. It looks great. Can't wait to see all those giant boulders stacked along the side and around it, and then obviously what I think will be filled in with little stones to make it look like a little river rock / rock entrance into the mountain. Super excited to see how that looks when completed, because with that blue, or that brown support and that light blue track, it's going to look great. But I'm even more excited to obviously what AlpenFest is going to look like, and the themed queue line. Really hoping that it's going to be an indoor queue line / sheltered queue line. If I had to take a guess, the queue line is going to be built obviously kind of like in here a little bit, but more so just off to the right, in between the fly and underneath the brake run of AlpenFury, and obviously entering in where that green cherry pickers are. There is still signs of work going on in this little area where the waterfall is for the mountain. So definitely curious to see, again, what this work is, if it has anything to do with reopening that path or if it's completely separate in terms of what is going on. Again, there are rumblings that Thunder Run's exit is going to be changed ever so slightly, and it might be changed to a staircase and exit a different area, which then would mean they would need an elevator, and there is some signs that an elevator could be going in on Thunder Run, which I think I show at the end of the video, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, as you see here, they did finish installing that booster launch that'll then enter into the fan curve into the mountain. And a lot of electrical has taken place on this booster launch. They were working on it heavily today, and they have a lot of those connector pieces to start installing the catwalks, as you see right down there next to that green cherry picker. And yeah, I think that's everything. Sorry, I just ran out of breath there. In terms of AlpenFury Station, you can see a lot of the conduit and plumbing coming up through the concrete there. And this will obviously become the actual station building. And once they're done, the PLC room, which I think is right there, where that orange cone is, you can see the conduit coming out. That's where the PLC system is going to be installed. The brain of the ride, they'll then go up and start building the next level of the station. So they're going to have to do more concrete work to build that next level. As well. So obviously you can tell there's a lot of landscaping they have to do in this area. So as you can see right there, it's little, it's not much of a sign, but this is all the drone can see. If I had to make a wild guess, this is either where a staircase or an elevator is going to go for Thunder Run's new exit, or because of Thunder Run's new exit. There'll be an elevator there, but time will tell. We'll have to wait and see. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching our construction updates. Again, if you want tickets to May 29th, definitely go buy them. We'll be inside Canada's Wonderland this Wednesday coming for an in-park update for you guys. Inside Canada's Wonderland, looking at AlpenFury. The park will be taking us on a construction tour to show you everything about AlpenFury. So that'll be really exciting for you. Craig and I have a lot of good gear we got for you guys to make sure we do it right this time and that the audio is a lot more crisp. I know a lot of you were like, oh, the audio was a little off in our last construction tour. We were using the DJI mics. So now we're going to use a really professional, very expensive microphone on top of the camera so we can single out the audio if someone is speaking in front of us. So yeah, awesome. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, and we'll see you in our next update, which is probably going to be Wednesday. Have a good one, guys. Bye.